Russell Brand tried to rebrand himself as a Christian last year after 2 decades of allegedly committing crimes and going after vulnerable women.
He forced his down my throat and I couldn't breathe, it was just choking me.
Diddy is in big trouble because his ex, Cassie Ventura, is excited to take the stand and share exactly what she experienced in their relationship. On top of that, other people in Hollywood are starting to share their experiences with Diddy, and it's not looking good.
So then my assistant was like, you know, he wants to hang out with you next week, and I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to
Wendy Williams has hired a new lawyer who is determined to free her, but the judge in her case does not like the media attention, and this lawyer likes to make a big fuss. So either Wendy is closer to freedom or she's going to be headed to a more intense facility than where she's been locked up.
She's clean. She's fine. Just free her.
A K-pop girl group, Kiss of a Life, found themselves in trouble after a mockery of a live stream that left a lot of their fans disappointed.
That's hip-hop culture to y'all? Dressing like that, acting like that, talking in these terrible black scents, eating collard greens and cornbread.
And finally, Snow White is starting to cause more problems for Disney as the lawsuits start to stack up and tension behind the scenes is boiling over. Let's get into it. Let's get into Russell Brand. Katy Perry's ex-husband and the British comedian Russell Brand has found himself in really big trouble. Russell is now facing R-word and SA charges from 4 separate alleged incidents dating as far back as 1999. Now, it looks like detectives began investigating Russell after a series of allegations were made against him in 2023. But what's interesting is that the police, they were able to bring 4 charges against Russell, but they date back from 1999 through 2005. So I don't know why about 20 years later they started investigating it. Maybe one of the victims came forward and that's what really started this. But either way, the police must have a lot of evidence if they're going back 20 years plus for the 1999 incident and pursuing him, as they should. But what's interesting is that Russell isn't currently in police custody. Yeah, he's been charged with these crimes, but it looks like he's going to be expected in court in May. That's when he will face the charges. So I guess the police, I don't know exactly how it works in London, but maybe they weren't able to go and just pick him up yet. You got to go and get convicted of these charges to be held.
Well, what do you know? Russell Brand has officially been charged. When these allegations came out, we're like, allegations, there's nothing there, he's not getting charged. Well, he's getting charged. Does that mean that he's been found guilty? No, but it means there's enough to charge him. Wait, there are so many people on this platform who have been platforming him like he's some good guy and he took the Maha movement and jumped onto that. This is a dangerous, scary individual who time is officially up for.
Russell Brand has always given me really bad energy, especially when I saw that he and Katy Perry were together. She was kind of on her rise and doing really great in her career, and he always seemed so negative. Now, Russell is currently denying all of these charges, but it doesn't really matter because there are more and more people coming forward. Actually, the Sunday Times released a joint report of multiple women claiming that Russell harmed them between the years 2006 through 2013. So we're seeing this pattern continue. It's not just 1999 through 2005. It's up until 2013 now. A couple months after the report came out, Russell was sued by a woman claiming that he had SA'd her on the Arthur movie set, another claim that he denies. What's freaky about this is that he can keep denying and denying all he wants, but if this is true, it's going to come to light. Or at least we would hope it would. You know, we're going to talk about Diddy next, but not to get ahead of ourselves. But I do think there's a world too where there's just, I mean, we all see it. There's no justice here. And I don't exactly know if Russell Brand is in the position to defend himself. Will he able to just deny until the day he dies? Or I don't know what the prosecutors have against him, but it must be rather damning. Either way, I told you earlier when he was with Katy Perry, he just gave me such bad vibes. So unfortunately, I'm not surprised.
You have to watch this clip from the latest documentary on Russell Brand.
He forced his down my throat and I couldn't breathe, it was just choking.
Okay. I mean, we've already got documentaries about Russell. So at this point, I don't know why he's denying. He might as well just go and get himself comfortable in a cell.
I was crying, and he said, "Oh, I only want to see your mascara run anyway."
Them blowjobs where mascara runs a little bit.
Oh, interesting. So this woman was describing a moment where she was like attacked by Russell Brand, and now he's like making a joke about it in his comedy set.
Abusive men very often tell us that they're abusive. We just don't listen.
This person commented, even since I was young, my spirit never took to him, and I now know why. Now, I did see that Russell tried to do a little shift in brand. He tried to like embrace Christ, which I'm glad that he has found God, but it also seems very convenient. He got baptized in April 2024, and it just seems like he did so much evil that maybe he realized it was going to catch up to him, so now he's trying to rebrand, Russell Brand himself into a Christian, even though it's not working, especially when there's no accountability for what you had done, the pain that you'd caused people, and probably the guilt you feel for it. Now, when it comes to Russell Brand, it kind of reminds me of the situation with Bob Saget. He's no longer with us, but there were moments where he made inappropriate jokes about Mary-Kate and Ashley, and it ended up haunting him later on in life. Well, I feel like now that we're starting to see who Russell really is, a lot of his past career, it looks different now. It aged very badly. In one old clip, Russell admitted that he could get his assistant to do anything, like get naked and massage a radio DJ. Now, this is back in 2007, but Russell was chatting on the phone in an interview aired on BBC Radio 2. He was talking to Jimmy Savile back in 2007, like I said, and he told Jimmy he would love to meet him someday. Jimmy joked that he doesn't meet men alone, but interesting. What's wrong with Jimmy where he can't be in a room with a man alone? But if Russell Brand had a sister, he'd happily meet her. Russell responded saying he doesn't have a sister, but he does have an assistant who greets, meets, and massages anyone he tells her to. Russell says that his assistant is very attractive, and Jimmy says she's welcome to his home anytime, preferably wearing nothing at all, which Russell agrees to. And maybe you could just like chuck this up to bad humor, like just comedians who really aren't that funny. But at the same time, you must like acknowledge like this is a boss talking about his female employee. It shocks me how in 2007 like this was on the radio and people didn't even think twice about it.
It'd be very nice to meet you one day, Mr. Jimmy Savile.
If you've got a sister, you could meet me by bringing her along.
I haven't got any sisters, but
I don't usually meet fellas, but if you've got a sister, that's okay.
I've got a personal assistant called and part of her job description is that anyone I demand she...
This Jimmy guy's so creepy. Like, why can't he meet with a man? Like, it's like, oh, he'll meet with you if you have a sister. Why? Because he's just going to stare at your sister the entire time? Like, there's something so pervy about that. Like, what is up with this guy?
Greet, meet, massages. She has to do it. She's very attractive, Jimmy.
Well, that's a good start.
What kind of
start? You could send her along to do some research.
Would you like her to wear anything in particular, Sir Jimmy?
I'd actually prefer her to wear nothing.
Right. So you want my assistant to meet you naked? Okay. Well, that's not going to be a problem.
Let's get into Diddy. Oh, Diddy, you are not getting out anytime soon because the feds just put on more charges on your case. And the feds, they don't play. They're not going to just add anything. Like any normal investigation, they start their case, they start with this investigation, but there's so many people and like celebrities and ties that Diddy has that I'm sure it takes time to really uncover more of the truth. And I actually feel more confident in the justice system seeing them add on these additional charges later on because they are continuing to investigate this man. The more people that they meet and things like that, I feel like they're unlocking doors and maybe tunnels under LA. Diddy's facing new criminal charges in his case because prosecutors hit him with their third indictment. It looks like they're adding 2 more charges, one for trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. So forcing these people to do these things, to get intimate with people against their will and telling them that if they don't, he's going to like force them to, fraud them into it, or coerce them. And he's also getting in trouble for transporting people around for these type of acts. The feds say the new charges stem from allegations against Diddy from 2021 through 2024, which is insane because this is so recent. And it looks like they are referring to this person who they have met as victim number 2. I don't know who victim number 2 would be, but they've essentially already said that Cassie is victim number 1. So who's victim number 2? With the new indictment, Diddy is now facing 5 criminal charges, 2 counts of trafficking, 2 of transporting, and 1 of racketeering. Diddy's legal team tells TMZ that these are not new allegations or new accusers. These are the same individuals' former long girlfriends who were involved in consensual relationships. This was their private SCX life. So they said they consented to these things. They're clearly saying they did not. Now, I want to spend a second and try to think about who victim 2 could be, because we noticed that in that text, they said that it happened between the year 2021 through 2024. So looking at his timeline of people who he has been dating, Young Miami, a rapper from the girl group City Girls, was dating him through 2021 through 2023. We also have Dana Tran, who is a model who also dated him around the same time. So it can be Dana Tran, it could also be Young Miami. But I want to switch gears to Terrence Howard, because he just gave a glimpse into the dark side of Hollywood, and one example he gave is his personal experience with Diddy. He was a guest on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, where he claimed that he was targeted by Diddy for SEX under the guise of coaching, which sounds like grooming 101. Like you go and act like a mentor or like a teacher, and then you get your way in.
Terrence Howard just exposed Diddy. Not only did Terrence Howard admit that Diddy was trying to use his power and influence to get with him back in the day, he also talked about how Diddy used his power and influence on people in the entertainment industry, and this is why we see a lot of people dealing with mental health issues and addiction issues in the entertainment industry. And he says this is what we see with people that go to these Diddy parties, that they are stuck with making a horrible choice if they want to advance their career or get that fame, because Diddy is using his power and influence over these people to make these decisions. This part gave me chills because the first person that I thought of was Bashir Gray. I wholeheartedly feel like Terrence Howard was talking about Bashir Gray, because this is what we saw happen to Bashir Gray in real time. We all watched him rise up on Empire, and out of everybody, he had a gift where he was rising up in the entertainment industry to be huge. And then we all watched his downfall in real time. He started dealing with substance issues, he got arrested multiple times, and it just turned out horrible for him.
Now, to be honest, I haven't heard of Terrence before he made these allegations. He's best known for his role in Hustle and Flow, which was back in 2005, and also in Iron Man in 2008. He also was in Empire. Oh, God. Yeah, we know what happened to that show. We actually we did a deep dive into it like a couple months ago. You guys should go watch it. No one really did. Now, Terrence does not share when this incident went down, but claims that he was invited to Diddy's place when Diddy was asking him for acting lessons. Terrence claims that Diddy had no material to work on and just stared at me for a while before asking Terrence to play some music. Again, just to stare at him. Nothing was accomplished. When Diddy invited him to come back over there another time, Terrence said he realized Diddy only wanted to get intimate with him. To be clear, he did not accuse Diddy of any wrongdoing. Terrence said a lot of people give up their man card to make it in Hollywood and to become successful, but he refused to do so at any point. Which, I don't know if we need to talk about the man card, okay? But like, also just, damn, that is wild. That is just so casual how it happens, and there wasn't really any speaking to it. He like had him come over and just like stared at him and kind of waited for him to do something.
So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week, and I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room.
One person commented, "You know why I believe him? Look at his acting career. He's always been overlooked for several roles. There's a reason he didn't compromise." Another person added, "This is the main reason why Sean Combs needs to remain behind bars." Now, when it comes to Cassie, I don't know what her settlement involved, but I guess it doesn't matter anymore that the feds are here. They want her to talk, and she's going to testify. I don't know if there's going to be cameras in the room. I assume there won't be, because I'm sure Diddy doesn't want this to be on TV. But victim number one, Cassie, is prepared to testify under her own name in the upcoming trial. And honestly, I'm so proud of Cassie for being able to take control in this situation and not to be scared of the man who put her through so much. She's going to go and face him and to tell the world what she had gone through, which is, I mean, incredibly brave. I can't even imagine doing that.
Cassie has came out and said that she is going to testify against Diddy. She don't need no fake name. She doesn't need to be hidden. She's just going to let it all out. This was confirmed by TMZ today.
Now, because these women have been labeled as victim number one, victim number two, last month prosecutors did hand over the names of 3 anonymous women to Diddy's legal team so they can go and do a proper investigation into these women and figure out how they're going to defend Diddy. We all figured out it was Cassie as victim number one because of the hotel beating video that was referenced in an indictment. The one that CNN published last year, but then apparently destroyed the tape of, which I still find that so sketchy. Like, why do we need to destroy anything? Cassie originally sued Diddy in November 2023 for all these horrible things, but they settled the lawsuit within days. I think she got like a payout of what I've heard is $30 million, but I'm not entirely sure. At the end of the day, Diddy's gonna get what's coming to him, and we're going to be on top of it the entire time. Let's get into Wendy Williams. Now, my friends were actually texting me because this is big. Wendy added Joe, a lawyer, to her legal team, serving as her personal attorney. I'm like, should I even try to say his last name? Joe Taco Pina. It's like taco and pina colada. What a good mix. Oh, I would love a taco and a pina colada right now. Wendy Williams has a new legal mind on her side because famed attorney Joe Taco Pina says he's serving as her personal attorney. He's represented big stars like President Donald Trump, Yankee player Alex Rodriguez, and most recently A$AP Rocky. And A$AP Rocky actually won his case big time. So this guy is not playing around. Joe says he's making motions as her counsel of choice and telling us about a range of potential approaches he has in mind. Now, I'm really glad that Wendy has the ability to go and hire Joe, because I remember Britney Spears and her conservatorship said that she didn't know she could go and change her lawyer, but she could have. They just tried to make it difficult for her, so she never realized she could. But Wendy's taking back her life, and recently there have been protests outside of her hospital, people really standing up.
Here you are, I'm right here. Your girl's right here. Extras right here, they love you. How are you doing today? Free Wendy! Free Wendy! Sounds fantastic, but she is fighting for her life. This is a woman who wants her freedom. And it's tough in there. It's tough in there when the whole world is going on without her. So, you know, she struggles with that, but she's looking forward to her freedom. She's clean. She's fine. Just free her. Just let her go. We're in America. Why can't she come downstairs right now?
Wow, it's so sad to see her literally caged up in there, just staring out her window. She's the only one in that building who's looking out the window. No one else is standing up. She is. Now, Joe, her new attorney, claims that he did watch the Wendy Williams documentary, and he was in tears watching her go into this facility and having all the wrong players in full force. So I think it's really great that he understands the case, and he's expressed openly in the past that he wants to be her attorney, and he manifested that.
The end goal is to get her out of that draconian institution she's in, that she doesn't belong in, because she's not incapacitated.
Joe kind of looks like he's had a little bit of work done, doesn't he? Is that natural? I don't know.
In any way, shape, or form. She's in a ward where people don't know their names, where people don't know between a red light and a green light. I mean, she's in a place where, people are dangerous to themselves. She's not. She can't leave there on her own to go get a cup of coffee. So...
And it is ridiculous. I mean, and she definitely, I think she has the funds somewhere to where she can go and take care of herself. I mean, she sold that New York apartment that she loved so much. Where'd that money go?
The goal end game is to make sure she gets out of there. How it's done is honestly, it doesn't matter to me now. I spoke to Wendy at length yesterday. She wants me to represent her. I am representing her. Her family's asked me to represent her. I'm her personal attorney now. Doesn't mean I'm in the guardianship case yet, and I'm not, because the judge has to approve any lawyer coming in to the guardian.
Ooh, and the judge does not like the press. We see him over here doing a bunch of press. The judge does not like the show of it all. I could totally see the judge saying, "Hey, Joe, you're not coming in here." Oh, hell no, because it's more attention on this case that she doesn't want people paying attention to. She wants to go and lock Wendy up somewhere where she doesn't have a window to go and wave outside. We've all heard Wendy claim that she's in a prison-like environment in this facility, and she's signed a legal document to get out of the guardianship. All I've got to say is, hey, hey, ho, ho. The guardianship, it's got to go. It reminds me of like the Free Britney days. Let's get into Kiss of Life. Now, I've never heard of Kiss. Actually, no, I have. I've heard of Kiss of Life because I always go to Spotify New Music Friday to see all the new songs because, you know, I like to keep up with pop culture. And the K-pop group Kiss of Life, I've seen them pop up before. I don't listen to their music, and I don't know if people will be after this video. They posted a really cringe, uncomfortable video. They had apologized for this video they posted, claiming they were not trying to be racist while dancing to 50 Cent in the club. The band, which has 300,000 fans on X, shared a handwritten apology Saturday, admitted that they made an error posting that. I don't know what they were thinking. You can see the band members dancing while wearing their hats to the side and big gold chains around their necks, basically parodying clothing some rappers might wear. Fans called them out, saying that the video was culturally inappropriate. While the band seemed to mean their little dance as a joke, many fans called them out for their behavior, pointing out the parody as culturally appropriative. Let's take a look at this video together.
Who that? 마음에 안 들어. Who that? 자꾸 우리 주원이 세게 이렇게 마음에. Who that?
Two hats? What's that about?
Who's that? Come out.
Oh, and the braids on the side. You guys see that, the braids? In their apology, the Kiss of Life members, Julie, Natty, Belle, and Hanul, apologized for posting the clip and adding that it's been difficult to see how much they've hurt their longtime fans. The ladies say they wanted to show how much they love hip-hop, but ended up taking the concept too far. Now, there are a lot of different people reacting to this video, and I want to give you an example from a TikToker I came across.
And I really do not care about Kiss of Life's weak-ass apology either. Talking about we sorry. Yeah, y'all sorry as hell. You can save those lives for somebody who want to hear them. First of all, it's a generic company apology, like always, and then y'all still playing in our faces. Talking about, oh, the purpose of the live was to celebrate hip-hop culture. Are you serious? That's hip-hop culture to y'all? Dressing like that, acting like that, talking in these terrible black scents, eating collard greens and cornbread, and getting on your friend about flirting with your man while you calling her Little Taco Bell, that's hip-hop culture to you? Do not play with me. Like, hip-hop culture, my ass. Y'all were really up there playing and putting on a minstrel show. And when you were trying to explain the theme, you didn't pull up no pictures of no actual rappers. You didn't pull up a picture of no hip-hop groups, hip-hop acts that have supposedly inspired Kiss of Life. You pulled up a picture of some random black men on the side of the street. What type of bullshit is that? Like, y'all are really trying to play these mind games and nobody is going for it. Like, now you want to apologize? You knew it was wrong from the beginning. Julie already had one strike against her.
I love exactly, everything she said. Like, she has the best take. They promise to continue to educate themselves and understand nothing they can say or do will magically fix the damage they've already done. So they're going to give a ChatGPT response and just smile their way through. Let's get into Firefest 2. Billy McFarland, he really is just setting up people for failure with this Fire Festival 2. Billy and the Fire Festival 2 team are sticking to the location for the event, claiming they've been working closely with Playa del Carmen to ensure the festival happens, despite the government's claims to the contrary. So the government wants nothing to do with this festival. We all remember the trip where everyone went there and they were sleeping on tents. They had pieces of bread with some unmelted cheese and some styrofoam. It was so bad and a really big safety risk. And I think the government's trying to stop Billy, but Billy is so delusional. The man went to prison for the first festival and he's setting himself up to go again for the second.
Good morning, everybody. We just announced on the Today Show that Fire 2 is taking place April 25th through April 28th on a private island off of the Caribbean coast in Mexico. Private
island. I'm already like, I don't want to go anywhere near that. Like, I think of Epstein right away. What do you think of Epstein?
Ticket applications are available on firefestival2.com.
Officials for Playa del Carmen, a small town south of Cancun in Mexico, wrote a message in Spanish which translates to, "There is no existence of a registry nor plans that would indicate such an event is taking place here." They also added, "No such event with that name will take place in our city." While the Fire 2 team says, hold up. They wrote on social media that they are working with the local government in the city, claiming that two groups have been collaborating with them since early March, which insane to think that you're throwing a music festival on what was April 25th, 28th, and you are just meeting with the location people in early March. The timeline is not adding up. He also included screenshots showing paperwork filed within the city, which appears to be pre-authorized permit for the event. He also included emails with the city going back and forth. Honestly, he probably has to do this because if anyone was going to this festival, and I mean, who really would want to go? But if anyone was going, I wouldn't want to go hearing all of this. Like, okay, the government doesn't know we're arriving. Are they going to arrest us? This person commented, unbelievable that he would still try this again. So many red flags. The biggest one is no artist lineup. Another comment reads, he's just going to take whatever cash people were stupid enough to put into this and then disappear. Well, guess what? It looks like Billy is starting to realize things aren't going to go the way he thought, because Fire Festival 2.0 will not go down in Playa del Carmen, Mexico next month, and organizers say it's because they got royally screwed by the Mexican government. They claimed that they were backstabbed by Mexican officials, not menacing words, but the event producer said they effed us, which also... Wait, what do you mean they effed you? I mean, they said they had no idea you were coming there, and then they probably told you what you had to do to throw something there, and you just can't do it. So now you're just going to tell the world that they screwed you over. According to a producer, the government is acting like they had no idea the festival was going down in May, which I thought it was going down in April. It's not adding up. The government posted on Instagram giving their blessing and support, and then yesterday they say we've never heard of them, like it's hilarious. The event producer isn't holding out hope, saying the government is lying completely, adding, and at this point we're not doing any event there and we plan on making it very public and showing all the evidence. So crazy to me that in these text messages their plan isn't like, okay, how are we gonna like refund people? How are we gonna do this festival? What's going on next? He's like, we're going to start exposing. We have all the receipts. Like, this guy is so delusional. They're not even focused on like how they're going to logistically have this festival go down. They're more worried now with just like exposing the government that screwed them because now they're the ones to blame. Fire 2.0 would have been a big hit if it wasn't for the government. Seems like a convenient excuse. Wow, wait, okay. And then in these messages, you can see they're exposing themselves for trying to create some narrative saying that the government there failed them, and there's a lot of political unrest between the US and Mexico, and that's why this has resulted in the festival not being able to go down here, which is such a crazy excuse because I really think they just didn't do the proper work to get permits. Like, they wrote, you're gonna start seeing Americans kidnapped, mark my word. Which, please don't, like, not manifesting that for anyone watching this video ever. There's a lot at stake for Fire Festival 2. The world watched the original festival crash and burn in 2017, and Billy was convicted of fraud and sentenced to 6 years in prison. He left and he got out, released in 2022. He didn't leave prison. You don't get to leave it. You get released from it. And ever since then, he's been trying to fix his reputation. This isn't a great sign, Billy. Billy boy, you might need to just hang it up. Let's get into Snow White. Disney is now facing a discrimination lawsuit over Snow White, the snub of little people actors who were replaced by cartoons and the woke live action remake. Who writes this caption? The little people stars of Snow White are planning a class action lawsuit against Disney for replacing them with cartoons. I didn't even know they could do that because I feel like that's just a creative choice. I don't know if it's like really like discrimination, but it looks like a bunch of actors are rallying together. I mean, actress Allie Chapman, who who is 50 years old and 3 foot 8 inches tall, said that 7 talented Little People actors could have played those roles in the live action remake, and yet they chose to use cartoons. It's an insult and discriminatory. Last month, a class action lawsuit was filed against Disney, accusing it of discriminating against visitors with disabilities at its theme parks. It claims that they have introduced rules on passes that require them to disclose medical information where other staff and guests could overhear. I do feel like there's a lot of tension over at Disney, which is why we had this Snow White fiasco. Like, even though Rachel Zegler is a nightmare, I don't put all the blame onto her, because I do feel like everything at Disney, the creative, the parks, everything, there's a lot of tension that's building over. I thought the parks were made for kids. I wasn't a kid that got to go to Disney. We didn't do none of that growing up, living in Virginia. It's expensive too. So I thought it was for kids. It looks like it's more of adults that I see there nowadays. I don't know if the parks are even built for that. There's so many people there that it's so crowded. And I think there's a lot of anger building up over at Disney. A lot of people are upset over Snow White. I'm really just hoping that the Lilo and Stitch movie can bring us all back together.
They're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarfs.
Okay, but what do they call them?
Why would they get rid of the dwarves, though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, we're a disability group. You just erase that whole image. The argument should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV. There's power of television. And to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story. Don't change the characters.
I understand where they're coming from, because I think of how there are so many straight people who play gay roles, or what if we had instead of black people, they put or CGI, or the same for anything. It's just it's not cool. It's also just not real. And it reminds me of randomly the speech that Jay-Z did a long time ago with Tidal, where he talked about trying to bring realness back to music, sound wise, because everything was getting so electronic. And I feel like the age of movies and television, there might be a need for this realness. I don't think that I didn't like seeing how the 7 dwarfs were portrayed in Snow White. I do think that there was plenty of room for them to go and hire actors, especially with the budget $250 million.
Seems like nowadays you can protest about just about anything. Well, why don't I begin a protest about the fact that Disney decided to use CGI dwarfs? Not even the real thing. We could have gotten higher. We could have gotten money for something, but no.
He's right, because that is a lot of money lost. And I mean, Snow White in general really flopped for Disney beyond just being a bad film. An analysis of the Snow White movie that shows since 2019 that over 250 Disney film sets were examined, and that the live action Snow White was responsible for emitting at least over 4,000 tons of carbon dioxide. This staggering amount ranks as the second highest polluting Disney movie on record, following the remake of The Little Mermaid, which talked up to almost 6,000 tons of CO2. Which that is insane. I didn't even know people were measuring those things. Despite a hefty production budget that was between $240 to $270 million, the film had a lukewarm opening weekend, bringing in only $42 million, which is way less. It's not enough to go and pay the bills.
We spend 1 minute on Snow White and how it totally imploded at the box office this weekend. It was so delicious. The thing they spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live action Disney remakes that they've ever had. Even the one that was their worst, Dumbo, did better than this has done. And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one. Said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power. We could go on. It didn't work.
The Dumbo thing is crazy. Not like Snow White doing worse than Dumbo. But I do think Rachel Zegler has become an easy target for people to go and shift the blame onto her, which really sucks for her career. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Her co-star Gal Gadot also found herself in hot water for getting political, talking about what was going on in Israel and Gaza and still going on out here. But Gal did not make the same impressions that Rachel did. Rachel really did her big one, talking about how the film was going to focus on feminism, which I think that's good. I think it's just the way that she framed it. It made a lot of old Disney fans feel like a little bit like scrutinized for liking the original Snow White, I guess. Let's get into Onijah Robinson. Now, you guys remember that random woman from New York that went to Pakistan and told them that she demands $20,000 or more a week and she was going to take over the country? Look at this headline. Claims she married her Pakistani lover, got offered $100,000 a week from Pakistani government, and didn't get jailed until Dubai. Now, I don't believe one word that comes out of this woman's mouth, but I cannot look away. She contradicts herself so much, going back and forth, saying there was a situation in Dubai, and it seems like the government in Dubai like issued some way to go and send her back to the States because they did not know how to deal with her. If you guys don't remember, here was Onijah in Pakistan.
Pakistan needs to be reconstructed the right way. Do you hear me, guys? Make sure y'all get this on your camera. I'm married to Nidel Hamid. I'm Onijah Hamid. We are moving to Dubai very soon. We're gonna have our baby in Dubai. I want 20K up front. 5K to 10K to stay here every week because we might just move, me and my family, and I want those demands from the government right away. I want these houses to be built up correctly.
Now, Onijah almost looks unrecognizable here, but here she is recently caught up on the streets of New York.
Everyone's asking, where have you been? Well, come on the sidewalk. Well, I'm glad to be back in New York. I'm glad about that. I'm happy about that. That's all I have to say for right now.
One more shot.
My coins, on everything. And did you end up going to jail, or was that not a thing? Like, does anyone say she went to jail? She's stuck in jail. Well, listen, I didn't go to jail. I was just stuck in Dubai. It was a situation that happened in Dubai that I couldn't get over at the time, and that was it. How long were you there for? I was there for a month. Wow. After Pakistan. After Pakistan. Yes, I was. That is so.
Oh my gosh, this sounds in New York. Why am I like starting, my heart's starting to raise? Like, I can't even pay attention to what she's saying because there's too stimulating.
Crazy. So then how did you end up getting out? Like, did you get in touch with like the embassy or? Actually, I'll keep all that private and tell you guys that later.
Now, Onijah claims that she married her 19-year-old Pakistani lover, Nidal Ahmed, who I believe they had like some kind of online relationship. Then she went to Pakistan looking for him, and then he saw what she was like and realized that she's like in her mid-30s, which shout out to the girls in their 30s. I'm now in my 30s now. But anyways, realized that she wasn't the one. But I think that when she hit the streets and got all that fame and popularity, he ended up like being peer pressured by his community to go and get her because they were married, according to her. Onijah claims the Pakistani government was going to pay her $100,000 every week, but she left, which is insane because I don't think they even, like, one, they don't, like, we're not operating in dollars out there. I believe it's rupees, right? Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But also the government's not handing over any money to her. She also revealed she'll be having her own show out soon with her husband. Don't worry, everything's exclusive. It's coming out. Oh, I really hope that TLC got into contact with her. This comment reads, something is wrong here. Another person writes, why does she have an agency? And then finally this comment reads, please make it stop. Let's get into TikTok. Now, it seems like this TikTok saga is just going to continue and continue because they'll just keep delaying it. Donald Trump signed some paperwork to go and delay the ban of TikTok, which I'm glad because I'm almost at 200,000 followers on TikTok. I've been loving it over there. It looks like in their new agreement, ByteDance, the company who owns TikTok's algorithm, will maintain a minority ownership in the new company under the 20% threshold required by Congress. I believe when there's a company that's maybe based out of the US. Trump also announced some tariffs recently, and it seems like I heard something where it sounds like he's going to like use the tariffs as a way to negotiate with TikTok. Like they'll be like, hey, like, you take off 10%, or I'll take off 10% if you like give us TikTok, which I don't know how that's going to work. It looks like we now have 75 more days, or actually, let's think about this. So this podcast comes out on the 9th, and we got 75 days on the 5th, so we've got 71 days until the ban again. So we'll touch base when it comes, but I feel like something will happen. I mean, it has to, unless we just end up in another, like a world war, which we are not manifesting that right now. Hell no. But thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of the Let's Get Into It podcast. You are the best, especially if you waited all the way to the end tuning in with me. So thank you all so much. I will be at Coachella this week. I'm actually leaving on the day this episode comes out, and I will be gone for the weekend. And if you are there in Indigo, is it Indigo? Indio. If you're there in Indio, and Indigo, isn't that blue? Also, what is blue in Spanish? Azul. Indigo. Well, if you're in Indio, I can't help it. I'm going to call it Indigo. But if you're in Indio and you're at Coachella and you see me, say hi. I can't wait to see some of you guys. Last year. It was so much fun. But I will see you guys in a new podcast episode next week. But go to my main channel, Sloan, for daily videos. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.